episode of My Prescott Lifestyles. Today, our co-host Kirsten Holson,
Hi, welcome back.
Steve Irwin, and we have our special guest. Now, Harry Oberg is a supervisor for District 1 for the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors. And so, tell me, what is that?
What is District 1?
Well, basically, we provide the governance for anybody that's not in an incorporated area. So
Okay,
anybody that's in an unincorporated area, we're basically their government. Just like if you were
okay,
in the city of Prescott, you would go to the Prescott, council
council,
and mayor to
right.
get things done and try and work out issues with the staff, obviously. And it's the same thing with us.
okay,
So if people have problems with, weeds and roads or paying their taxes or cleaning up the guy next door because he's making a mess.
code enforcement,
All right.
Code enforcement, that comes to us.
okay.
And we deal with that.
So,
So-
how would someone know if they're in an incorporated area or not?
Well, they can call me.
Okay.
Oh, we're
Basically, if you're not inside the town limits or city limits,
So if you don't have like a city government or maybe a city police
Correct.
force or something,
right.
then you're probably in an unincorporated area.
yes, if you're gonna call the sheriff, you're unincorporated.
gonna- Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that'd be one way to look at it.
And so you're District 1, where's District 1?
It's 2/3 of Prescott, basically from Iron Springs South
Okay,
and 89 West.
wow,
So it's a fairly large area, all the way down to Vulture Mine Road,
okay,
just north of Wickenburg, Baghdad, on over to Castle Hot Springs.
wow, that is a big area.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Takes me about-
country.
Takes me about 2 hours and 15 minutes to get to Castle Hot Springs.
Oh my gosh.
So,
That's a big area.
yeah, it is.
So as basically on this board, as like you're the city council for the District 1,
Mhm.
what are you guys proposing? What's going on? What's the issues?
Well, obviously right now, as we're going into the budget, there's 67 responsibilities of a county supervisor. People don't realize that.
I didn't realize that.
And number one is preparing a budget
All right.
and executing a budget. So basically the last 4 to 5 months of the fiscal year, we go from July 1 to June 30.
Okay,
Those last 5 months are pretty hectic in trying to take a look at what we're gonna do about a budget for FY 2024. I guess, one thing that impacts us is, right now you have the legislature in session, and they're trying to decide what they're gonna do for FY 2024. And sometimes they have a tendency to ask us to cost share in certain issues that they have going on. And in other cases, they sometimes affect our ability to get the revenue we need to be able to do.
So
provide all
they're
those-
putting their hand in your bucket.
That's correct.
well, it doesn't sound like it's a positive. They're gonna cost share with you and then they're taking your revenue. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how this works out good.
Well, it's not quite the help we're looking for, let's put it that way.
And what are some of the issues that are coming up that are being proposed?
Well, right now they're looking at dropping the sales tax on food. And
Okay.
it says all food and grocery. So
Okay.
does that also include, restaurants?
Oh, that's a
Or
good
is it
point.
just the food, that you would get in a supermarket?
Right,
So sometimes the problem we have, and we see this at the national level too, bills are not very clear.
Right.
They do write them in somewhat of a general instance or
Okay.
tone, and so it leaves a lot for people to try and interpret. So we don't know where that's going to go right now. I've already tasked the staff to start looking at what that could cost us in the way of reduction of revenue. The other thing they're looking at is reducing the TPT sales tax.
oh, TPT is,
You had to ask me.
sorry.
Anyway, I'll probably think of it here in a minute. But basically, it's your sales tax.
Okay,
And that anybody that pays rent will not have to pay sales tax on their rent.
Oh, wow.
okay,
A third one is to not have to pay sales tax on your electric bill or anything for natural gas.
And these are all things being proposed at the state legislature
Yes.
now.
but
Okay.
if they take away all the sales tax, how does it pay for our infrastructure?
Well, it makes it more difficult,
Yeah,
obviously. A fourth one that we ought to bring up too is somebody said that, well, if you have paid off your home, why do you need to pay property tax?
Mhm.
So the problem I see there is, you know, there's probably a lot of people coming in from California that still go homes there. They
Right,
can possibly buy here,
Mhm.
and pay off their mortgage.
Yeah,
but I'm seeing on a bigger level for the whole state, if you take away all this taxing.
Yeah.
Our infrastructure's having a hard time getting police officers and firemen
Yeah.
and ambulance, and so now, if they're not gonna pay the tax, who pays them? How do they get paid?
Well, again, you know, we set the tax rates.
Right,
So the people that haven't paid off their mortgage, we'd have to probably increase their taxes.
oh, wow.
oh, so
That's
now
not
we're
gonna be
showing a
good.
little bit of favoritism
Yes,
because of
so,
this thing that they're
and
proposing.
right now, they wanna put that in the Constitution.
No.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
So,
No, cause you can't get it out.
yeah, so, obviously, I'm on the, legislative, policy committee for
Right.
the County Supervisors Association.
Oh, good,
And, I'm the, by a rep.
okay.
And we oppose all of these because, you know, I understand what the legislature's trying to do. You know, with the cost of living going up, they feel that this is some way that they can help their constituents. But at the same time, we have to be able to continue to provide services. And so we
Yeah.
need to make sure that we have the money to be able to do that.
Because they're gonna complain if you can't get police or fire, or their
Yes.
library shuts, or there's no trail system for them to walk, because you, yeah.
Yeah. Or probably one of our biggest complaints is roads. You know,
Yeah,
And,
I've got a
big
dirt road,
complaint.
when are you gonna make it paved? Or I have a paved road that, you know, it's falling apart, and when you gonna come and, I
It's
even had one guy
not
come in and said he wanted the rubberized
Oh, wow.
asphalt because he didn't wanna listen to his tires when he was driving to town. So,
was he
Well-
willing to pay for that?
well, that's the question,
Yeah, you got to in California, he can probably do that.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
my goodness.
the one on the, not having to pay property tax if you've paid off your mortgage. Basically, the idea there was that people that are, you know, elderly, fixed incomes,
Right,
you know, maybe they're having a difficult time just getting by, and this would be one way to help them. But unfortunately, right now, the legislation that's being brought forward has no, means.
No,
well, and we have a property tax break for seniors.
Yes, absolutely.
People that are disabled or widowers, and so that would kind of help that
Yes.
class of people.
Yes.
But, you know, in my way of thinking, someone that has a lot of resources would probably pay their mortgage off. And people with less resources, say blue collar
Generally
workers,
don't.
probably wouldn't be able to afford to.
well, we
Yeah.
just saw it with the influx of people that we've had move here. They
Oh,
sell their house
absolutely.
in California, they buy cash here, and they don't own anything, but I can't guarantee that they're seniors.
Right, that's true.
This is crazy.
Another thing that's happening is, you know, we have PSPRS,
Uh-huh.
the Public Safety Retirement System. The big problem there is, across the state, we're probably about $10 billion behind in what we call unfunded liability.
Mhm.
You pay into the program every year, but then, you know, when their assets don't return what they thought on their expected rate of return, or even they lose some assets, you know, we have to make
It's
it
your
up.
responsibility,
That is
yeah.
in the Constitution. So right now, we have three components of that. We have PSPRS, which is basically for all your police, fire, and deputies,
Correct,
sheriff. Then we have what's called CORP, Correction Officer
okay,
Retirement
Right.
Program, for your correction officers, and I think even for your probation officers.
okay,
And then you have EORP, which is elected officials retirement program. So right now for Yavapai County, we're about 12,700,000 behind on EORP, the one for elected officials, and we're about the same on CORP, the
Mhm.
correction officers. So it's about almost $50,000
oh
or
my
$50 million.
gosh.
I'm
Oh
sorry.
my goodness,
And so, obviously, both of these, the state has a big portion of that too.
Mhm.
And so they've decided that what they would like to do is take some of the general fund and pay these off,
Oh, wow.
pay them up right now. Of course, what they're gonna do is pay our portion too at the county level.
uh-huh,
And then over a 10-year period, we're gonna reimburse them for the fact that they paid off our system. So right now, instead of 12 million that we would be paying in EORP, we would only pay about 7 million. So
Okay.
we do get a benefit, for that. But my concern, of course, is, you know, how how are they gonna manage their assets going forward? Are they gonna be
How is this
having?
not gonna happen again?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Yeah.
because they're trustees or commissioners that run that retirement system.
Trustees.
And so, but they have not done a good job investing their money over the years.
Correct.
And that's causing us to pay more.
Yes.
And so is anything done to change that?
Yes, obviously, many of these people are appointed by the governor.
Mm-hmm.
I think Governor Ducey did put some folks in there, and I think they've also hired some financial people that are much more qualified than the ones we've had before. So I think we're seeing improvements.
Okay.
This last year, they ended in June of last year. They indicated they're going to make 7.3% on their expected rate of return. They made 4%.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
So,
Ooh.
but the year before that, they were in double digits.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, they did have a good year, and now they've had a bad year, but unfortunately, we have many more bad years than we have do good ones.
Well, they need to be self-sustaining at some point,
Yes.
because taxpayers should not have to keep funding that, paying for their unwise investments.
Yes.
That's what I'm guessing.
And I'll say also that, I've been in certain businesses where you were required to have a different audit
Right.
Right.
every 3 years. You
Right.
couldn't go with the same company year after year
Right,
after year. The
right.
idea was that within 3 years, somebody else would come in and give a fresh look.
Absolutely.
And to my understanding, that has not happened with the PSPRS.
Oh.
And so I have a number of constituents coming to me and saying, well, they're concerned about PSPRS, and people that are in the financial world, of course, they're saying, has anybody really took a look at their investments and determined that what they're
They're
carrying on the
valid.
books is the actual value?
Yeah, because, my thought is if you're a political appointee, are you going to invest based upon politics or based upon rates of return or
Performance.
are you a good, a good guardian of that resource? And if they're constantly making unwise decisions, I can't say that it would be,
No,
so.
no.
So those are just some of the issues that
Oh,
we're working
nothing
right
too
now.
heavy, just all light stuff.
It's all that
Yeah.
stuff.
You're 35 and you weren't great when you started, right?
And next week, we're gonna be talking about many of the election bills that are coming forward. So,
Okay.
that's gonna be very, very interesting because it's been my experience in the last 2 years since 2020 up to now. It seems like even though the courts are the last resort on issues dealing with elections, they don't seem to really want to deal with them.
No.
They see things as
No.
being pretty much political, and
Right.
it's better to let the politics work out rather than to actually, take things to court. So, I think that's the reason why a lot of these bills are coming forward, because, people are saying, well, the courts really haven't done that much.
Right.
And, and maybe they can't, I don't know. But, we'll see where that one goes. Of course, another issue right now is water.
Mhm.
And,
Big issue.
rural areas, we're very concerned about that. There's 2 bills right now, and sometimes when you have somebody down south in Pinal put in a water bill, and you have somebody up in northern Arizona put in a water bill, are they gonna conflict?
Right.
Possibly, yes.
Are they gonna be appropriate only just for the area that, you're talking about, or are they gonna be
Yes.
statewide?
Yeah,
So one of the things that seems to be happening is a very strong push in both these bills to make the county supervisors much more responsible for having authority on water.
Okay.
Up to now, we have not. It's basically ADWR.
right.
Arizona Department
right.
of Water Resources. And the director down there and his staff, and we really don't have much to do with it. I mean, if somebody
No.
wants to drill a well that's not through us, we might send a permit forward, but we don't have to monitor it.
Right.
Our only responsibility is make sure the septic is far enough away,
Right,
for safety
right.
reasons. But now they're starting to talk about us, being very much involved in groundwater and ensuring that we have, we're getting proper recharge, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, how am I gonna do that as a county
Yeah.
supervisor?
Well,
I'm
you're
not
gonna
sure
hire
that we're gonna have
people
to
and
recharge.
equipment, and that
Yeah.
seems like that's just a lot more cost on us.
Yeah.
For the local,
So, that's an area that we're looking at right now.
okay.
There is a bill right now, you might remember back when I was mayor, we were able to get Representative Noel Campbell to pass HB 2107. And that basically gave us authority, permissive authority, at the local level to have more responsibility for inspecting sober living homes to
Right.
ensure that they were
Right.
providing adequate safety
Right.
and care of their clients.
Yeah.
And we, in the city of Prescott done a great job at that.
And I think when I came in, we had, oh, don't quote me on this, I think we had 80 or 90 homes, and I think we took it down to 30 or less, yeah. So,
Cause I remember speaking to some of the like police officers and the postal delivery guys, like, yeah, I go to this house and I'm getting 30 people's mail.
Right.
And this is not a treatment house, this is like someone's normal home.
Right.
Yes.
And it was something that was probably unregulated.
Yeah. So we passed an ordinance. We started the process of going out and doing inspections. We required that house managers were trained.
Right.
They had certain level of training. And that seemed to be improving the situation. And then, of course, the Arizona Recovery Housing Association, ASRA, said they didn't feel that this should be something that is handled at the local level. It should be something that is handled by the state through the Arizona Department of Health.
Right.
At the time that this bill went through and the legislature decided to go that direction, Arizona Department of Health said we don't have the resources to go out and do the inspection.
Right, right.
And you know, we probably have difficulty in even going out and looking into complaints. And so basically, unfortunately, that legislation was passed. We now have another bill coming back saying, you know, permissive authority at the local level for, you know, for cities, towns, and counties.
Okay.
And have more authority on sober living homes. So it just seems that, you know, when we make some progress, then it seems like sometimes we kind of take 2-3 steps back. So hopefully, you know, we can move forward on this because I think there's a lot of issues. I was talking to a person that was in, I think it was FedEx, back in that time when I was mayor. And he says, I couldn't believe the number of urine samples that I was picking up.
Oh my gosh.
And sending out for
Analysis.
analysis. And he says, I mean, it was
I've been in some of
300
those
a day
homes.
just for him.
Oh my gosh.
So,
That was before Amazon kinda.
Yeah.
so you know, there's a lot of issues going on, and we try and stay on top of them. And sometimes the legislature is helpful, and sometimes it can be not so helpful.
So one question that someone wanted me to ask is about the courthouse plaza. So did you guys install some kind of manager for that plaza, or what's
Well,
going on?
we used to
with
have the Prescott Downtown Partnership,
that? Okay.
Right.
and basically we had a contract with them to manage the events down there, and then also to ensure, you know, like on the weekends, when people came in and set up the tents and everything, that they cleaned up afterwards. And so basically, we paid them to manage this contract, and then of course we reduced the contract for any work that we had to do in which they had not ensured proper cleanup. There was some issues with PDP some time back. One of the principals involved seemed to take some money, embezzle some money, and so a new management came in, and new management started taking a look at the whole situation and said that they felt that maybe this was something that they didn't want to do anymore.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, we went to our facilities folks and said, how do you want to handle it? Because it's under the facilities. And they said, well, we'd like to put out an RFP and see if there's anybody else that'd be willing to do this. They felt that there probably wouldn't be anybody that would want to come forward on this. And so they were looking at, you know, bringing on their own staff to be able to manage this.
Okay.
And we approved them to start looking in that direction.
Oh, nice.
And in the meantime, to go ahead and put out an RFP and just see if, you know, anybody really wanted to be a manager for the courthouse plaza. As it turned out, we've had a number of people come in.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Groups have come in and said they would like to manage it. So it looks like maybe the RFP will actually be able to bear some fruit.
Oh,
Good.
good.
So I will tell you that even if we kept it in facilities, we're not going to cut anything. We're going to continue with all of the events down there. I
Yeah.
think there's 8 major ones a year.
Right.
To say nothing about the weekend events and things
Right.
of that nature. So, there was some concern early on as, PDP said they were gonna step out of the picture that, we were not gonna allow those events to go forward, but they've all been scheduled again, they've all been
Good.
approved.
Oh, good.
Good.
So,
It's such a community booster, I think.
Oh,
It's
it
just- It's
is.
just something that people love to come to town
Oh, yeah.
and participate in.
Oh, yeah.
Great job doing that. So as we kind of wind down a little bit, as the supervisor for District 1, you're still going out in the communities, having your community contacts and meet and greets and those type of things. How do people find out what's going on with not only District 1, but say all of Yavapai County?
well, down in my district, we have town halls.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And so we go out to all the major communities. Normally we find a building and advertise. We even have lighted signs up and get people to come. And I normally talk about the budget. We talk about things that are going on in public works, facilities, things of that nature. And also with development services.
Okay.
All the permitting and people saying, you gave me a ticket for, having too many weeds and I didn't cut my weeds and stuff like that. And so we go out there and take the abuse from the folks out there on all the things we did that they didn't like. So I'm just kind of kidding. Sometimes it does get testy, I
Yeah.
can tell you.
They can get vocal.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we always have a sheriff's officer there. So,
Okay.
Well, there-
just
Do
in
all the
case.
districts do that?
I think they all try to do that.
Okay.
I feel it's one of the best ways to get out and keep people informed. Also in some of the localities, we've got a little local yellow sheet newspaper that they put out, so I put stuff into that. So
Oh, nice,
the
okay.
word gets out. I'm not sure how much this is done throughout the rest of the county. I do know that our PIO puts a lot in the newspaper, he puts
Right.
things on the radio.
Mhm.
So if people are, listening to the radio or get the courier, they'll hear about that.
I'll hear about it.
One thing I will tell you is, I found to be very interesting, mining seems to be coming back at a pretty strong pace.
Yeah.
And so just to give you some ideas about some potential mining prospects, you probably heard about the Kirkland mine, in which they're producing what's called pozzolan,
Mhm.
that's being put into concrete now because there's no more fly ash.
So is that those big silos as
Yeah.
you go into Kirkland?
Kirkland, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side.
Yes.
I thought those were grain silos, and
No.
then someone told me about a year ago that those were some kind of mining
Yeah.
Yes.
things,
Yeah.
okay?
So the mining the pozzolan, and it's probably the next best substitute, if not the best substitute, to strengthen concrete
Okay.
and help it to dry faster.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, what they're starting to find out is it's zero carbon.
Oh, wow.
So it seems to be that, more and more people are looking at trying to develop specs
Right.
using concrete and using pozzolan. So I think that's probably a real plus for us. I think
Yeah.
they're gonna hire about 40 people down there, a lot of them
Okay.
locally, so that's
Wow,
gonna help
good.
the area down there. Obviously, right now with the Baghdad mine, they're producing 2 million pounds of copper a year.
Yep.
They're gonna double that.
Oh, my gosh.
And there was a recent effort to look at the number of transient folks they need. They need a lot of separate companies to come in and do certain work when you
Right.
set up a new mill and take the overburden off and start a new pit and all that. So they were going to have about 1,500 people that were going to be transient, and then they're eventually going to have probably about 600 to 800 actually permanent miners.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So unfortunately, there was some effort to look at putting that all in Kirkland,
Mm-hmm.
and that didn't receive a lot of applause and support. So it's
Okay.
being looked at, moved someplace else. But everything I'm hearing right now is the mine still plans to move forward on that. The price of copper is up,
Right.
and I mean, copper is used in so many things today, batteries and
Yes.
stuff for electric vehicles. So a great need for it.
Yeah.
I had another company come into me. They want to put in another copper mine down in. It's going to be an underground mine,
Okay.
just northeast of Lake Pleasant.
Oh, wow.
And we also have some of these old mines are being worked right now, the tailings for various things.
Right.
One is being used and they're taking lithium
Oh,
out of the tailings.
Right.
Plus, now they're also looking at where lithium is other places in the county, and there's a company that wants to come in and do that. There's another company that wants to come in and start mining magnetite.
oh
And
my,
magnetite is basically an iron ore.
right,
And so it looks like, you know, obviously these are gonna take some time
Obviously.
because
Right.
you're gonna have to get permitted,
Yeah.
HEPA permits, and that's gonna be time consuming.
Well, and I know the Yavapai College has a mining program
Yeah.
where they teach all the miners how to mine and all the mechanical, electrical equipment and maintenance and all that. So it's kind of a good place to, if you're going to be mining, it's not a bad place to be.
So if these start, you know, obviously that's gonna be jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think our new county administrator is very interested in economic development.
Good.
And trying to look at how we can improve economic development at the county level
Mhm.
throughout the county, which is an area that we have not pursued much in the past.
Right.
fantastic.
Well, how do people get a hold of you if they have any comments or want any additional information?
Just write me at, you know, my name, Harry Oberg at Yavapai County.
Okay,
I think it's 1015 Fair Street, Prescott,
Okay.
Arizona,
absolutely.
86305.
And your meetings are weekly or bi-monthly?
First and third Wednesdays.
Okay,
So we just had one today.
Okay,
okay.
It's up here. The one that we have down in Cottonwood will be 2 weeks from now.
okay,
So we try and do one on each side of the mountain. Another thing we've done recently, and I'd like to make sure the public knows this, is we have returned to call to the public.
oh, good,
So that people want to come in and talk about things that are on their mind.
Okay.
They get 3 minutes. All they have to do is turn in a sheet, letting us know they want to speak.
Oh, nice.
They'll be timed, obviously, and I just want to make people understand that since it's not agendized, whatever
Right.
they're talking about,
right,
we can only take it in as information.
right,
We can direct the staff if we feel it's an issue that needs to be looked at some future time on,
Right.
on the agenda.
But you can't personally respond.
Cannot
No.
personally respond.
Okay.
but you can listen,
Is just take it in, but we've had some very good comments, and you know, I think sometimes just giving people the opportunity to speak to elected officials and get things off their chest is very beneficial.
it's wonderful to
So.
be heard.
I think that's good. Well, Harry, thanks for being on the show.
Sure.
We certainly are happy that you're our District 1 supervisor. And
You're in my district.
You're also, and excellent. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Please like and subscribe.